everybody. Merry Christmas and welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we are here to talk about two more of the movies that were on Hallmark Channel this weekend. We're talking about Sealed with a List and Friends and Family Christmas. So it's going to be super fun. And I'm really excited to have one of my critic friends who's been on Rachel's Reviews a bunch of times, but this is the first time on Hallmarkies podcast. Molly Rasberry's here. And Molly, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you on. And you know, it's interesting because you are, I would say you like really artistic, ambitious films. So I think it's so cool that you're also somebody that can appreciate a rom-com and a Hallmark movie.
Oh, I can. In fact, one of my friends introduced me to The Christmas Spirit, even though that's Lifetime. And it was actually pretty good. I was genuinely surprised. I was like, wow. And these films actually, especially Sealed with a List, was surprising.
Yeah.
I won't get into it more, but yes.
Well, since it's your first time on Hallmarkies podcast, why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners? Tell us a little bit about you and your love of movies.
All right. Hi, my name is Molly Rasberry. I am a freelance film critic and former film scholar. I went through undergrad and postgraduate film studies. And I've dedicated a whole chunk of my life to movies. And and I just I love spreading that joy, and I love putting out my perceptions and actually reading other people's takes and just love movies.
Do you have movies around the holidays that you like to watch? Any traditions?
My family, I know we always watch Christmas Vacation, the Chevy Chase one. I'm an interesting one. I will watch Carol every single Christmas season, which I am going to bring up later on in this podcast to talk about one of these movies.
Yes.
And also, I'm really strange. I either mix between I will watch Last Temptation of Christ or Brazil, and those are my.
Oh yeah, I forget that Brazil's a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
it is.
It is a Christmas movie. It counts. Yes.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Some unorthodox picks.
Well, so you love Carol. Do you have any other rom-coms that are favorites of yours?
Rom-coms.
Off the top of your head. I know, hard.
I was Roman Holiday I love, even though that one's really sad. That one's probably my favorite.
That one's good.
And then I also really love Some Like It Hot, and I love The Apartment. And it's
also kind of a Christmas movie. It's like right on the edge.
because it's right on the edge. It's New Year's.
It's like a New Year's movie.
Exactly. I'm just I love the classic ones. I love those ones, and because it's hard to find really good ones right now in this time frame, and I want those back. In fact, I love I just rewatched Hudsucker Proxy today, which yes, it is a romantic comedy. It is a screwball romantic comedy, retro style. So so it counts. It works.
I love that.
That one was a really good one.
It's a circle, for kids.
Yeah, it's a circle for kids.
Very good.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's dive in and talk about these movies. The first one, Sealed with a List, and this is directed by Lucy Guest and written by Melinda Bismeyer, Emily Ting, and Robin Gadsby, Kate Finley, and Evan Roderick. And the summary is, this holiday season, festive Carly sets out to conquer her list of abandoned resolutions from last year. Aided by coworker Wyatt, she finds love and the confidence to chase her dreams. So overall, what did you think about this movie?
This one exceeded my expectations. I was going into it thinking, oh, this is just going to be one of those kind of bland ones. Like my mom likes the really bland ones that are very, that the objectives are just very like, oh, I want to be this big shot corporate lawyer sort of thing, and want to have all this dreams, but I'm just in love with this one guy, and I'm just, oh, come on. But this one
city
actually,
girl to the country.
Yes, exactly. That's the one my mom really likes, and I'm not the biggest fan of. But this one, I really liked it because they're just, no, we're going to stay in the city because that's where
Yeah.
we're going to have these expectations. And it genuinely made me laugh. I
Yeah.
actually laughed during some parts too. And the humor
Yeah.
was top notch. I was thinking to myself, this had a slightly bigger budget and had a bit more editing chops. This could be a decent rom-com to be in the
Yeah. I
theater.
think
I could
so.
see that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And both of these movies were actually City Girl movies, which is like shocking for
Yeah,
Hallmark
I
when you
know.
think
That was
about it.
surprising. That was surprising to me. I was
Yeah.
just city girl movies, yes. And
Yes, and I was so impressed with this one. I think the
hmm
writing is the true standout. I mean, I liked both the leads; they were great, but
hmm
I thought that they did a really good job of making
hmm
both the characters authentic, dynamic characters that grew
yes.
throughout the story. You really
hmm
saw an arc. I mean, they took the time to have them know each other for years, which usually don't,
Exactly.
a lot of times it's just, oh, they're thrown together for a week and then, they're saying,
Yeah.
I love you at the end. Like this
Or
all
there's
felt,
only one bed.
right. This all felt, I thought, really authentic and believable. And by the
This really
end,
did.
I, I bought that he had changed enough and
Hmm
she had changed enough and they had both helped each other enough and they had, I think, really good chemistry. It was nice to
hmm
see in on Hallmark Channel to see a younger story. A lot of
hmm
times, and I will talk about that a little bit in the next one, but a lot of times
Yeah.
you have 40-year-old actors playing parts clearly written to be, in your 20s. And that so it was
Yeah.
nice in this case to have younger talent both
hmm
playing, younger people that
hmm
that are just still figuring out their life, figuring out what they want.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's definitely one of my favorites of the year, which I was not expecting.
It's high up there for me. I gave it 3 out of 5, which I've given
Yeah.
to, yeah,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I was kind of really surprised by it, and their
Yeah.
chemistry, their rapport
Yeah.
was really good, and and they balance each other out. And I think it also because in the film, they both have to change and grow as people. People,
Yeah.
Katie's character, they have to actually take risks and
Uh-huh.
actually be able to and connect more with other people beyond their scope.
Yeah.
And while the son has to realize, like, I have been dependent on this trust fund I had. My dad's given me everything. I need to learn to actually grow up and be on my own. So,
Yeah.
and they help each other so well in both those goals.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of Sabrina, but
Yeah, it really,
you know,
it kind of did.
yeah,
It kind of
but
does in a way.
it's just if he had ended up with the William Holden Greg Kinnear
Yeah,
character.
I know. It was him with that guy. Yeah, with the Willie
Yeah.
Holden character.
Yes. Which I
Yeah.
mean, I actually think that Sabrina remake is really
hmm
solid. I
It
like it.
is. It is a solid movie.
Yeah. I like
And I
it.
thought Julie Ormond should have been gone for better things. And I was like, what happened to her? And then I found
Mm-hmm.
out that she was a victim of Harvey Weinstein because she rejected him. So
Uh,
it's like, oh
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
that's why we
Well, I
didn't
mean,
hear from
because
her.
the original, I don't feel the chemistry at all between Humphrey Bogart and Audrey Hepburn. And
I kind of agree with that. There is definitely more
yeah,
chemistry with William Holden, which makes sense because they were having an affair on that
right.
set. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
She's got this job and she hates it. She's bored. She wants to be a designer, but she got this job that her mom had worked there, and she felt like she feels like she'll be sort of disappointing her mom if she leaves the job. And which of course her mom tells her later, like, that's crazy. And I was thinking that can't be true, right? There's no way that mom would be. Her mom would not want her to be miserable. But I did relate.
I know.
I related to her a lot because when I was in my late 20s, I was going to grad school, and I was working it was an interesting job because I was working as a receptionist, and I kept being like, and this is going to sound cocky, but I kept being good at too many things. And so they were like, oh, Rachel's the one to do this. And so they would give me another job, and then another job, and another job, and another job. And
no extra payment or anything
not
like that.
Much.
I had that too. No.
Yeah, not much. And my manager, she just hated me. She did not like me. And she saw me kind of like this because it was a family company. And so she just treated me with disdain, no matter what I did. And so she wasn't going to advocate for me. And I lacked the confidence to say, I can't do that. And so it just kept building and building. And I literally was miserable for 3 years. And then finally, I finally left, and it was a crazy experience. And so I related to her a lot. Like, it's easy to get in that thing where it's like, you've given so much that it feels like I can't leave now. Now's just the time when it's all going to pay off, or all of that misery will be for nothing. And your mind just plays tricks on you.
This film did have a bit of the Hallmark tradition of having the Black female friend just being around there. But she's the one who actually pushes her to do this, because it's her return from Sicily that prompts Katie's character to be, oh crud, I have not done this list, and I have not actually fulfilled any of these goals my friend promised me I would do. So at least her friend actually had something there besides just being like, you go girl, sort of thing.
That's
and just
true.
To bring
and
the diversity quota there.
And at least her friend didn't exist solely for her, because a lot of times you have this with a gay character or with a person of color, that they seem to have no other life, like, aside from being the
which is a big issue I found with Hallmark, and I feel so bad about, like, no,
I hate it.
I also loved her roommate, her 70-year-old roommate, because
that was fun.
They're just like, if I lived in a big city, that's exactly who my personal roommate would be, because I would be like, I don't go out late. I'm not going to parties, and we're just gonna hang around. And technically, I do have a 70-year-old roommate because I pay rent to my mom to be here. So, like, okay then.
But it was so it's kind of like it was really unique because the Evan character, he gets the promotion. He gets the job that she wanted, and then she writes this list of resolutions, and then we see a whole year go by. Which I just that's very unusual for a Hallmark movie.
I know. It is. It's just like the time thing. She didn't get that 4th year mug to 4 years of Christmas here. That Secret Santa. I'm your Secret Santa again. Here's a mug. It's the same one. It's a different year.
I mean, this guy is like super rich. Like, we're not even just talking like normal rich. Like, if he has individual servants and a giant condo in Manhattan, like,
and somebody to drive him everywhere. I actually started laughing. Her response, like, I got you a Metro card, because he's going to take the sub for the first time in his life.
I mean, this guy would have to be like, I don't know, like Paris Hilton rich, like rich.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there are a lot of people like that. I don't think, even if you ask people like if you ask people, Anthony Bourdain, there was an episode he did where he was talking to some people who mostly have servants, all these places. I think it was Dubai. And they laughed at the idea that he did his laundry. And they said, when's the last time you done your laundry? He said, just 3 days ago. I like doing laundry. I like cleaning my own clothes and taking care of myself. And they just stared at him like he was crazy.
Oh man, I would love to have somebody be able to do my laundry.
I know. Even though I'm just like, it's just like, it's a confidence booster. That's something he actually learns when he realizes like, I can be self-reliant and I can do this stuff. And I think that's a great lesson especially for a lot of rich people to know, because there are a lot of rich people that don't know how to do their own laundry or clean or anything.
Yeah.
Like that.
I mean, there's a lot of like rich people that have drivers and things like that, but to have two personal servants.
Yes.
For him, it was like, wow, this guy's like rich.
Gertie was the best one. She reminded me a little bit of Rob Luker from Young Frankenstein.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
it's like, I'll teach you how to sew and mend everything. Just her inflictions, they were just some of the best laughs of the film. Top notch. And I do want a sequel where we see her best friend in Sicily actually finding this guy, the Francesco guy that she met. Like I would watch that movie. I would watch that movie. Yes,
me too. I like when they get signed together, and he says that is me doing a group project with the prom king where I do all the work, and then you get praised for being handsome and charming. You think I'm handsome?
Charming. It's just like
that was cute.
Like
that was good.
That was cute. I found it kind of ridiculous with the 5K run, which is about 3 miles, because I used to do a lot of those as a kid because my dad would force me to, because that's how we would, because he always wanted to do those road races. And all those costumes, I was like, the person in the snowman costume, you are not going to win this. Why did you pick that costume? Like some of those costumes is the ones with the present shoes that she tries to help him get up with the Christmas tree. I was like, no, you need your running shoes. You need your running.
Yeah, that was bonkers. The shoes, because people do wear quite elaborate running costumes.
Yes,
but you have to be able to walk. I mean, that's crazy. But
I know, and there's supposed to be ice in here, and I like there's no red faces in there because they're like, oh, we only just ran a little bit because this is the movie, but we're not going to make them actually sweat for real here. This is Hallmark. It's imagination there, and I was like, good for you, Hallmark, not making them sweat.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to nitpick about this, like some of the things on this list were a little ridiculous. Like, I find it hard to believe that she's the kind of person that needs to put reading a book from cover to cover on a list like this. Like, she seems like a reader.
Yeah, she does. She does seem like a reader, even though there are apparently a lot of people. I actually have heard statistics showing that after high school, 70% of people don't finish a book cover to cover. And that's just really depressing to realize.
Really depressing.
So maybe that was why she's one of those people. And she's like, I want to get off that statistic right there.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like her personality. And then like the book that she reads is like a children's book. It's like,
it
the Nutcracker, like a picture book.
I know. It's like you could have just said a graphic novel, something like that. You could have been done with that anyway. It's like, no, I got to read that out loud to the children.
So what ends up happening is he doesn't check the inspection reports on these shirts, and they're junk, terrible. The buyer, it's basically supposed to be like Costco, is really upset, and but then she takes the blame on it, and even though his whole job is quality thing, it's obviously his fault. Everyone knows it's his fault, but she basically quits the job because she's had it. And so then he shows up at her apartment and invites her to this party because he feels bad that she took the blame, and she's like, I promised I'd say yes to adventure, So she
Yes.
goes.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have gotten a little, again, this sort of youthful energy. Like for a long time, there was a kind of a rule in Hallmark that you could never have our heroines breaking the law. And you could never, like, you could almost never see them like drinking hard liquor or like partying or, just certain things that was just not like Hallmark heroine behavior. But this year we've seen a little bit of a stretch in that. And there was a movie called The Santa Summit, which was really fun. That had a lot of clubbing in it. And then this one, a bit of clubbing. She gets pretty sloshed and everything. I mean, it's a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like so cute. I thought in the role, Katie was very, very endearing, and it was easy to root for them. And I just really liked them a lot.
They were a great pairing, and the actors are very good. And apparently, Katie, they were in the Twilight Zone with Jordan Peele in the AMC series. So they have done pristine. They have done well. This is pretty pristine too, just actually starring in a Hallmark movie. But they've done some pretty hardcore stuff.
And they were in another Hallmark movie last year called Love Strikes Twice, which was cute as well. It was kind of had a time travel element to it. That was fun.
I mean, they have a Wikipedia page too.
Nice.
A whole Wikipedia page for them. Yeah. They're kind of legit.
It's not often that we have our leading ladies that have short hair in Hallmark movies. So that was different.
I was actually going to ask about that. Yeah, I was going to, because I was like, is that just the norm? It's because whenever I would see it over with my mom, it'd be very long haired girls. Yeah. Lacey Sherber, Candace,
right.
Cameron. Yeah. Just those people.
Danica.
Meghan Markle, when she did a bunch of those films, all long hair. Yes.
Yeah. She wakes up after her night of clubbing. There's confetti everywhere. She's got a Santa hat. And the character does. And he wakes up and the staff isn't allowed to help him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was funny.
Yes.
And
like cut off. It's right there.
And he says, why do it yourself when you can pay someone to do it for you? And so he's super cocky and he says, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you to finish your list. And then she says that she's going to help him to grow up, basically.
Basically, yes. Reciprocity right there. This is why it actually works. It wasn't that one person had to change. They both had to change. So we're more invested in both of them as a result.
Yeah, because it wasn't a manic pixie dream girl where her whole role is just to perk up the disgruntled guy. No, they both help each other. And he says, she says, I can help you be more independent, and you help me with this list. And it says that she's his new life coach. This is the new life coach.
Yes.
So the next morning, she wakes him up at 7 in the morning. She says, wherever you're going to work, they're not going to want you to sleep until 10 o'clock. That is true.
No, that's very true.
Accurate.
Oh, I was like, if it was even more realistic, they would be waking them up at 6 a.m. because if it's an 8 a.m. shifts, it's like, you got to get in at 8 a.m. Let's go.
Yeah. If you want to work out or,
exactly.
all that stuff, it takes time. And she helps them make coffee and all of that.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a morning ritual that you do? Do you always have coffee?
I have coffee, but I'm also really weird. I love to put on a vinyl, a record in my turntable and listen to it while I'm getting ready. Oh, it's fun. It's a weird part of that, but I just love hearing that. I love hearing it through the speakers and the needle just dropping onto the record, onto the lacquer. And it's just like, it's that sign to be like, oh, time to get up, time to start moving. And that's what I do. So, and I just love that.
I am a huge cereal person. Nine
Oh,
times out of
yes.
10. Every once in a while I'll have eggs, but 9 times out of 10 I have cereal. I love
Mm-hmm.
cereal. Sometimes I'll put a little cut up apple or
Mm-hmm.
freeze dried
Yeah.
strawberries, really good in cereal, stuff like that. I like
Yeah.
to mix
Mhm.
cereals.
Yes.
I thought this a
I'm
lot
a
way too
I'm a
much.
I like the granola bar and banana combo. I like
Oh
having a
yeah.
banana and a granola bar because it gives me a bit of energy and
Hmm.
potassium. So.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Mhm.
I don't know, there's something about the sweetness and then the cold milk. It's just so good to me. It's the
It
best way to start your
is.
day.
It
Because
really is a good way to start your day.
yeah, we'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's author Jennifer Snow and her book, A Lot Like Christmas. This Christmas season, in best-selling author Jennifer Snow's steamy rom-com, A Lot Like Christmas, love comes where you least expect it. For Jessica Connolly, there is no better place than her coastal hometown of Blue Moon Bay. She has a wonderful family, supportive best friends, and a successful bakery on Main Street. Unfortunately, every time she designs one of her ex-boyfriend's wedding cakes, she's reminded just how unlucky she is with love, and that she's a good luck charm for men to find their happily ever after with someone else the minute they break up. So she's decided to be done with love. Dr. Mitch Jameson is more comfortable traveling the world with Doctors Without Borders than staying in one place. He just needs to survive the holidays in his small hometown before he can leave again. The beautiful, intriguing bakery owner with an aversion to dating might be just who he needs to occupy his restless heart. From sipping hot chocolates at the local Festival of Lights to early morning dessert deliveries, Jessica and Mitch rediscover the spirit of the holidays. But when the 25 days of Christmas are over, will their romance be over too? Adapted as an Up TV holiday movie, readers can catch a sweeter version by watching Christmas Lucky Charm. And you can purchase A Lot Like Christmas wherever you purchase your holiday reads or by using the affiliate link below. She says that she feels ungrateful to her mother that quitting, and
Yeah.
he says, I think it's possible to be grateful for what you have and still want more in
Mhm.
life.
Exactly.
So,
And that
yeah.
was something that he had to explain to his dad too, because his dad was confused, like, you don't want to work in the company that you're probably gonna
Uh-huh.
inherit soon. He said,
Yeah.
I want to make my own path. And realized, like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that is wanting more out of life, because you can't just live through a predetermined set of standards your parents already set for you
Yeah.
if it's going to make you unhappy. Because I could tell he did not really care about his job, and he had this quality control job he was clearly unqualified for, and I think he knew that. And I think he also was waiting for that time to be like, yeah, I just don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And she helped him realize that, oh, I need to actually work for what I want in
Yeah.
life.
I think that was part of the reason why he didn't even try, because it's like, well, if I try
Yeah,
and screw it up, then it's more embarrassing than to just not try at all. And then,
exactly.
and so then she starts sewing more. She starts getting more
Hmm.
invested, and it was funny, I thought, when that old man asked her to be his fourth wife.
Yes, I know.
That
That
was
was
funny.
cute.
That was
That was
funny.
cute. Hmm.
I also that he talks about how he misses his mother. I still get angry that she's
Hmm.
gone.
I
And
know.
then at the end of this conversation, she says, we spend too much time together to just be
Hmm.
coworkers. So that's when things start to kind of like,
Yeah.
because it's tricky when you play enemies to lovers. You have to make that switch at just the right time, because if you wait too long,
Hmm.
then we hate the characters and it's too much.
Exactly.
But if you and so you gotta think just the right time. And I think this was just the right time to make that
Hmm.
switch over in the movie, timing wise.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
she says, that my dad just quit on us. Yours is here.
Hmm. Hmm.
And you still have a chance to make this relationship better. So
Yeah.
that was nice.
And I like that the dad is an image of a pretty good, actually fair CEO,
Mm-hmm.
which I feel is kind of rare to see in a lot of media now,
Yeah.
because they're just like, even though, yeah, I don't like that he just kept his son, kind of just cut off his son without notice, without really telling him, but it was for the best. And that his dad actually did want what was best for him and actually did love him,
Yeah.
which unfortunately you don't see with a lot of really big CEOs in real life now. So it was nice to see that
Mhm.
in this film and actually see it right there, just like, oh, there you go. Even though I am not the biggest fan of capitalism, as you well know, but I'm just like, at least give us good guys. I mean, I like the Costco CEO. He reminded me of that guy. He reminds me of that
Yeah.
guy a little bit.
Right.
Which, speaking of Costco, right there.
Right. Yeah, it was fun when he's trying to teach her how to run, and he gets the kids to all throw snowballs at her.
So it's like, I'll give you some money, kids.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Yeah, that was cute. It's just like, and then they started throwing snowballs more at them, and she's like, "Well, at least you don't have to pay him any more money." And they just like run away.
And then the little kids singing Silent Night in the different languages. That was cute.
That was cute. I like that one.
And she reads the Nutcracker, and that's what her dad used to read.
Yeah.
And then she checks off, I read a book cover to cover.
It didn't say, just like, it would be approved by law because you have to read the fine print.
Yeah.
It didn't say only counts with adult books. It did not say that. So it counts. It counts.
Yeah, it was funny.
If we want to get some litigation here.
So he gets an apartment, and this was another like thing. He evidently moves in there in like it takes no time, and he moves into this massive apartment. And
of course he does.
Of course. And they're already able to set up Christmas right away.
Exactly.
Set up a tree. And it says the home.
I am guessing Gertie and the others just really came in to help him right there. Just like, this is going to be on her off time. Here you go.
Yeah, poor Gertie.
I know.
Yeah. So she says homes are filled with memories and traditions. That's the difference between a house and a home. Homes are filled with memories. And so Christmas can make you feel connected to what you love. And this is where I wrote down, why would her mother care that her daughter has quit her job? And so I was just kind of like, come on, her mother would want her to be happy. And of course, when she tells her mother this, her mother is like, I guess, a little concerned at first, but then the next morning she's like, of course I want you to be happy,
Yes.
Oh, good.
Like, it's obvious. Yeah, because I was confused, just like, what actions has your mother done to make you think that she would not approve of this is my thing, which I feel the next movie we're going to talk about does a little bit better with one of the main characters. But that was just that's just one faltering step with this film that I was just like, where's the real drama with your mom if you were scared to actually tell her about this and bring it up?
And then the dad comes over and looks at the apartment. He likes it. He says, this nice cozy apartment. I'm like, this cozy. This thing's massive for one person.
I know. He's living in Manhattan. That's huge.
But the mom says, I made the sacrifices so you could be free. I didn't make it so it would be holding you in. And then we get the elf 5K, or I called it the elf 5K, the Christmas 5K. That was fun.
Yes, that was cute.
She wins.
Even though I don't think she needed to win, it just said on the list, take up running. That doesn't mean you have to win the race.
That's true.
But it's like, it's a Hallmark movie. It's escapist. She's got to also win too.
So she's been working on this dress with Gertie's help, this red dress, and it ends up getting on fire, which was so sad.
With the friend, the friend feels so sad about that.
But then there's this party, and that she's very upset, but he gives her this medal, asks her on a date, and the dad says, you're off the hook, and he says, I'm gonna quit. I think I'm gonna quit. And then having you as my son has been the single greatest achievement of my life. It was sweet.
Oh, that was sweet. It was saccharine, but it was sweet at the same time. And sometimes we just want saccharine sweetness for the holiday right there.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. And
I even told my mom. I even told my mom about this movie. It's like, you need to watch this film, Mom. I think you would really like it. Sealed with a list. And she's like, "Ooh, I will put it on my list."
Yes. And so
Yes.
he finds out that she's going to get her job back, and he's like, I can't let her
Mhm.
do that.
Yeah,
Which
no.
was sweet because he knows
Yeah, I
it will make
know.
her happy. And he's in a
Yeah.
tux, he looks good. And
Yes. And of
and
course, before that, he got into the poor and the really shoddy Santa Claus outfit, but who cares?
uh-huh.
Because kids don't care.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of storytelling stuff, and we would have the shoddiest costumes or no costumes at all, and the kids would love it anyway. So it's
Yeah.
like it's part of the spirit right there. If you're in the role and you're getting
Yeah.
into it, kids don't care how shoddy it looks; they are excited and happy because you're playing this role.
It's true. That's very true. I have a actually pretty good Elsa cosplay, but obviously I don't look anything like Elsa, like at
No.
all.
Mm-mm.
But there was Frozen was doing their tryout, their Broadway tryout
Mhm.
in Denver, my friends and I went up there,
Wow.
and I dressed as Elsa to the show. And if you ever
Wow.
want a boost of your self-esteem, dress up as a Disney princess when a bunch of kids are around,
Yes.
because I was frankly kind of shocked how the kids just loved it. They were just like,
Oh, they
oh,
do.
yeah, they
Oh,
did. They loved
when
it.
even though the movie's not very good, when the 2017 Beauty and the Beast app was on, I was working, and every single little girl that was dressed up like a princess, I
Oh,
would curtsy to or bow, and they would just
oh,
giggle and laugh, just like I'm a princess.
that's
It's like,
so
oh,
cute. Oh,
yeah, I was just like, oh, princess, what may I serve you?
it
I would do
was
that for them. They're
it
so
was
cute.
so cute.
Yes.
Yeah, that is one joy working in movie theaters. The kids are
Mhm.
just so cute. And that one little
They
girl
are.
comes out of the theater, looks at her mom and says, Mom, I love Mario. Okay,
I think the
thanks.
saddest kid I've ever seen in a movie theater, it was an after screening showing for Cats the musical.
Oh, yeah.
And the kid with her mom, the kid looked so sad and her face was just down like Charlie Brown looking Charlie Brown Christmas, like sadness. I was like, oh my gosh, we are seeing this next. And that kid didn't even like it. I am not happy.
That is hilarious.
It was so
And
bad I had to get drunk. So yeah, so yes.
and he tells her, your dreams are too big for that. You cannot
Mhm.
take this job again. And then she says, there's nowhere else I'd rather be than with you.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and then he says, thanks to you, I'm starting to know myself. So that was all
Mhm.
adorable. And then she
Yes.
shows up at this party with,
Mhm.
she's like, I guess you're supposed to believe that she's tailored this dress
Yeah.
into a non-ball gown, into a with like a low back and a
Yeah,
cocktail
that's
dress.
yeah. Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah,
what I was thinking
yeah.
too. It's like, oh yeah.
And she looked,
It's
yeah, and they looked like
it's
a knockout.
yeah, they did. It is much better than the pretty in pink dress. I was like, this is her pretty in pink moment, except the dress actually looks good.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
and she says that, well, there's still one thing left. This New Year's. This was really more of a
Mhm.
New Year's movie than it was a Christmas movie.
It really
Really,
did
I would
feel like
say.
that, which I feel
Yeah.
also harkens back to the apartments as well.
Yes.
Because the
Yeah.
apartment, they're like, we can't just have the apartment and When Harry Met Sally be the best
Yeah.
New Year's Eve movies. We gotta also have that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of When Harry Met Sally is one of my favorite romantic comedies too.
Yeah,
So
that
yeah,
one's
it is.
really good.
Yes.
And we will have our traditional New Year's episode of the podcast every year. Writer Greg McBride, he comes on and we preview the upcoming January movies on Hallmark, and then we always review a New Year's themed movie. And we've done High School Musical, we've done When Harry Met Sally, and Sex and the City, the first one. And it's better than the second movie. And so this year we're doing something a little bit different, a little off-brand. We're doing the Poseidon Adventure.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's gonna be fun. I actually just watched it today. It was really good.
Yeah.
And so anyway, they celebrate Happy New Year, and she says, say yes to adventure. And her big adventure is this like amazing kiss. Holy cow.
Yeah. Woo. Yes. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
It
like,
was
ooh,
great.
I was like, is this allowed in
Yeah,
Hallmark
me
movies?
too. Yeah, but it was earned. I was totally into it, and yeah, I think this one is really strong. I mean, when I'm in the world of these Hallmark movies, I mean,
Mhm.
I would probably give it like a 4.5 out of 5
Yeah. Mhm.
crowns when comparing it with other Hallmark movies. It was really good. I liked it a
Yeah.
lot.
If I was comparing it to other Hallmark movies, I would give it the same,
Yeah,
4.5. It's
yeah.
right up there. Mhm.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Let's talk about Friends and Family Christmas. And this one is directed by Ann Wheeler, written by Gary Goldstein and Tracy Andreen, and we've had both of them on the podcast. We love them. And
Yes.
yeah, and it stars Humberly Gonzalez and Ali Liebert, and it's overwhelmed by Christmas
Mhm.
events and a surprise visit from her parents.
Mhm.
Photographer Danny asks lawyer Amelia for help. Pretending to date is the perfect solution until
Mhm.
real feelings develop.
Mhm.
So this was obviously a big deal in the world of Hallmark. Our first,
Yes.
we've had gay
Mhm.
relationships. We have had a gay leading role movie with Jonathan Bennett
Yeah.
last year on
Mhm.
Hallmark. This is the first one for a lesbian couple on the
Mhm.
network. So that was, very meaningful and exciting to many people.
Mhm.
But overall, what did you think of it, the movie?
I didn't think it was as good as Sealed with a List. I am glad I saw this one first before Sealed with a List because I think it would have been more disappointing to me, but that's why I could appreciate this one a bit more. But I thought this was a pretty good first outing, not well, pretty okay, not on the cusp of being solid. Just it's just something you could put on. I wish we could have had something a little better. And actually this reminded me of a book I read about 2 years ago. It was called Written in the Stars, and it has the fake dating subplot, and it has the whole setting up with a blind date and trying to be like, oh, we're actually in a relationship to try to
Yeah.
convince people to stop setting us up. And like that's taken completely from, and I was like, wait, this happened in Written in the Stars. And then they also had where they brought up their signs because Written in the Stars, one of the main romantic characters, is an astrologer. I was like, was this purposeful that it was meant to be like this? But then it didn't really follow it where they don't like each other. They actually do like each other a little bit at the beginning, but they're like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure I really want to be in this relationship sort of thing. But I got a pretend date, and I did like that the families were actually the ones trying to set them up instead of their friends because they're like, I want our daughters to be happy together and I think they would be great. And I was just like, I've never seen parents trying to set up their lesbian daughters in any media before, so this is interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's always a little bit tricky when something has representation, and as a
yeah.
critic, you don't want to be like seen as being critical of that representation, but you aren't doing the representation any favors by giving a complete pass, right? Like
Yeah.
you can celebrate representation, you can celebrate the good things in a movie.
Yeah.
It's not like a train wreck. It's not a terrible movie,
No.
but you can celebrate it while still being honest about
Yes.
about a film. So that's always a tricky kind of balancing act that you have.
I do
And
feel a lot of people give a lot of films with queer subject matter passes because they
yep,
want to be because they don't want to feel like that. I think a part of that with Maestro, because I was watching Maestro and I did not really like it as much
yeah,
as other people
same.
did. And I feel like I felt a bit more confident bringing that up because I am bisexual, like Leonard Bernstein was.
Yeah.
So I felt I could, hey, this movie was not very good. And a lot of other people who didn't like the film actually felt sort of cheated by it because they felt like, why was this kind of whitewashed? And this one actually had way more of a kiss than Maestro did between a same-sex couple, which shocked me because I
Yeah.
was like, this is TVG. This is a full-blown kiss right here. We
Yeah.
didn't even get that in Maestro.
And in that sense, I mean, that is exciting because for a long time, if something had a gay relationship, it was immediately a higher rating, even if
Exactly.
it was exactly the same as the heterosexual
And we had that this
storyline.
year we had this year with Passages because there is two gay sex scenes in it. One is very short, the other one is a bit longer, but it was nothing more. There was more sex in Poor Things. And the
Oh,
only
yeah.
thing different is that Poor Things has a lot more heterosexual
All
sex
right.
instead of homosexual sex. And I was just like, why did Passages get NC-17? I didn't even see full frontal in this film. This is
Right.
ridiculous. So,
Yeah.
and it's because of
Yeah.
homophobia, basically.
Right. Well,
Mhm.
my main issue with this movie is I was like, why am I not feeling the chemistry? What's going
I
on? And
I felt that too
and
as well.
I'm like, is it just because I'm not used I'm just not used to seeing two women, in leads in this role? I was like, I don't think so. I think
Mhm.
I'm totally open to that, but
Yeah.
you always want to check yourself.
Yeah.
And and
I think Humberly Gonzalez, who played Daniela, did a much better job trying to get that chemistry out there than Ali Lee Leibart
yeah,
or
the
Liebart.
problem
Yeah.
is Ali Liebert is 11 years older than Humberly,
Yeah.
and it shows. It definitely
Hmm.
impacted the
Yeah.
chemistry. It definitely, they just did not,
Hmm.
I was just not feeling it between the two of them.
Yeah. And you can make it work. I mean, Carol, Rooney Mara, and Kate Blanchett were around that same age gap, but their chemistry was so magnetic. And even this year with All of Us Strangers, with with Andrew Scott and Paul Mescal, they had really terrific chemistry, and they
They
are like
did.
15 years apart in age.
But the thing with Carol is it's kind of worked a little bit into the plot,
Yeah. Mhm.
that she's like a young
Because she's more
ingenue, and like,
mature. Yeah. Mhm.
and it's kind of addressed where it was sort of treated as if the two of these were the same. Like
Mhm.
it was never addressed. I don't know.
Yeah.
There was just, they're just, I just wasn't feeling it between the two of them. And
I was
I,
not really either, except for I feel like Daniela was trying to give her all, and Allie was just oh, I'm just gonna kind of cruise by this, be a little cold, which makes sense with her character, but I think the coldness went a little bit too much with it because she's supposed to be this corporate litigator, which I think is kind of the
uh-huh.
joke about it. It's just like a lot of corporate attorneys are very
Yeah. And
just
I think
not very
added,
humorless.
that added to the feeling of her being older, is that she
Hmm.
was always kind of very buttoned up. And
Yes.
with this, and it made me laugh that she's a photographer. This is about the,
I
like,
know.
this is about the 15th photographer that we've gotten this year on Hallmark. They love
I
photographers.
saw some of her pictures. Her pictures were not that great. I'm
So
sorry. She took some
even
pictures
the
of people without their permission. I'm like, you can't do that. Diane Arbus always had it copyright where it was, and Annie Leibovitz too, because you can't just take pictures of people
well
without their permission. You can take
well
pictures of the back of their head, but not their full face.
well no, the rule is if somebody is in a public space, then you
Oh,
are
okay, okay.
allowed to take their picture. So like that park would have been considered like a public space, but
Yeah.
that's like the law, is that photographers, because you're like, let's say you're
I
in a
keep
pub.
I keep messing that up with filming because you can't film someone, even if it's a public. You can't
Oh
film
really?
someone
Because like,
for a
oh
film
yeah,
or something like
so
that
like, because
unless you have their permission.
if somebody's at a public space,
Mhm.
is not expected to ask every single person
Mhm.
in the crowd. They're not expected to ask every single person to sign a waiver. But like,
Yeah.
if I was going to take like a one-on-one solo portrait, I probably would anyway, just to, but yeah, no, they love photographers in Hallmark movies. They're everywhere. It's like and also that she's a photographer that has like a dark room. I mean, that's just like so rare these days. Nobody takes pictures with film, even professional photographers. And
they don't.
No.
Even my dad was like, Dad, I want to get a dark room. He said, No, you don't. No, you don't. I did dark room for years and I hated it. He's like, no. And he has like $1,000 cameras and like hundreds of dollars lenses, even more professional than what she has in this film. And my dad was like, I'm never using a dark room again because I would lose so much stuff. Once a light came in, it just you lose it all. And he hated that.
So Danny, she works at this like art center place, and they're having this silent auction. And her parents are really sad because she's not coming home. Her parents are like, what's even the point of decorating if she's not here? And so they're very, very sad. And her dad's college roommate is Allie Liebert's dad. So that's how they knew each other. And so there's this big like travel grant, and so they set up Allie and Barry on this date, and they're very excited. And I agree. I think that was one of my favorite parts, is the fact that the parents were just so cute and busybody matchmaking with their daughters, as if it was
exactly.
And there's
no angst about it being like, oh, you're never going to have a husband. None of that. They are so accepting. And they're like, we want you to be married like us and have a wife and be happy. Happy, Danielle. And you're like, oh, that was so sweet. And that is, and how confident they are. Like, even my mom actually would bring up, just like, she'll always say guy first and then maybe a girl or something like that at the end, when she remembers, oh yeah, you do like girls.
Right.
Yes.
That's cute. Oh
yeah.
And,
but she will. It's very sweet of her. I'm like, oh, thank you.
And so we find out that Danny puts peppermint cream in her coffee.
A
lot. And we do joke on this podcast that you can tell a lot about a person by their coffee order, because if they have like black coffee, then they're a good person. If they have like whatever is this sort of Christmas, in this case peppermint cream, if they have a lot of it, then they're a good person. But if they get like an elaborate like soy double mocha, whatever, then they're a terrible person.
They are. That's kind of the Starbucks rules too. Just like the worst people are people who make orders like that. And you're like, it's very true. It's very true. And you can't even really tip at Starbucks much. I haven't been to Starbucks in so long because I don't even remember much. I see like maybe one tip jar and I barely see any tips in them. Just like, those are the worst people. They are. That's why I like independent coffee shops. At least I can tip more over there to be like, and you guys actually gave me a better cup of coffee than Starbucks. Let's go.
Then there was all of this stuff. So they decide they're going to fake date to their parents. Because her parents surprise her. And they decide to fake date.
Because Allie Liebert, she wants to convince people she's over her ex-girlfriend Margot. And so she says, we're meeting on a second date with her dad, thinking, oh, I can just keep up this charade. But it turns out, oh, the parents are here too. Her parents are here. Daniela's parents, though. We're going to have that. I wish Daniela spoke a bit more Spanish with her mom, because I'm just like, oh, you cast this Spanish actress, you got this Mexican mom. I would really like that. It's like, no, they don't really. And it's just like, I wish they did that, because I would love to have seen that bit of intercultural stuff. And I do like that both of her.
You'd like a lot is Merry Texmas from last year. I really liked that one, and it was so nice because they had it was a dual language film. So the characters would go depending on who they were talking to, speaking in Spanish, speaking in English. And it was really cute. I liked it a lot.
I just put
Um,
it on my watch list
yes.
on Letterboxd, so I can remember it. My friend also has this movie we're discussing on her watch list, so
Oh,
I'll have to
good.
talk to her about it. She will probably watch it because she wants to see all the lesbian content.
Yeah.
Content and yeah, and so I liked that Daniela felt a struggle because she felt like she wasn't succeeding in life when she should, because she wants to be in the visual arts after her mom is in the literary arts being a professor and a published
Yeah.
author, and her dad is a mathematician. She's like, well, I have to be something else then. And I found passion in
Yeah.
photography. And
Yeah.
this is what I want to do, even though I don't think her photos were as good as the movie makes it seem. I'm sorry.
Yeah. They never are, of course.
No, no.
But her camera is an extension of her and who she is. And yeah,
Yes.
these people are never in Hallmark movies. These photographers are never like wedding
Hmm.
photographers or
Yeah. No, they're not.
like taking photos at schools and stuff. Never anything like
Yeah.
that, that most
No.
photographers are.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with being a wedding photographer. There's
No,
really
no,
not. A bunch of
of
them
course.
a bunch of them do that to supplement their income so
Sure.
then they can focus on their art. There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
feel like it was trying to, speaking of Carol, to actually signal
Uh-huh.
to Carol because they also reconnect through Daniela's gloves that were left behind in the
Oh,
cafe that
yeah.
actually look a lot like
Yeah.
Carol Aird's gloves in the film, which is how she
Mhm.
and Therese
Yeah.
reconnect because she sends her back those gloves.
I
And
thought
I was
about
like,
that and
oh, this is such a Carol reference right here.
yeah, I thought about that. I also thought of serendipity a little bit, with the
Yeah.
gloves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's this whole scene with them moving this giant bear. There was a lot of
Yeah.
time spent on this bear.
Yeah, it was. And it becomes part of the silent auction. Just like, I
Yeah.
think me and I made a real connection, this bear. And
I would
it
think that
comes
the
out at the
bear,
end. Just like,
I
I
would
want
think,
to.
I would think the bear, especially in New York City, would get negative dollars. Like nobody's going to want this
I know.
giant bear. Like in New York City,
I
you have
know it's
no
taken up
space.
so many flight of stairs. You're like, no. Well, she's a
Like
corporate
nobody has
lawyer. Maybe she
apartment
can
space
afford.
for a giant bear in New York City.
Maybe she's a corporate lawyer who can't afford that.
I just
Maybe
think that I
so,
just
even
don't think
though
it would be
she
a
did.
big. I just don't think it would be a big winner on the silent auction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but but yeah, then there's this whole thing with we find out more about this Margot that she
Hmm.
hears that Margot is moving
Hmm.
and that's kind of hard for her and
Yeah.
I really liked those painted lanterns. Those were really cool.
Hmm.
I've never
Those were
seen.
cute. Words are cool
Yeah.
too. And I do
Yeah.
like that the MC was played by Daniela's token gay best friend. Gay best friend. I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember what his name was, but he kind of reminded me of Bowen Yang a little bit. I
Yeah.
feel kind of bad for saying that, but I really kind of felt like it. Like
Hmm.
it was with the voice and the inflections
Right.
and the glasses. I was like, yeah, I feel like this is like they wanted a kind of Bowen Yang type,
Hmm.
except
Yeah.
not the cost.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then they have like a near kiss. You find out that Amelia is up for partner where she's
Yeah.
at. And he says, I wasn't expecting this. You're a great fake girlfriend.
Yeah.
and
Yes.
and Amelia says that that she's got this travel scholarship
Yeah,
and
the travel grant.
yeah, she's worried that her family won't be supportive for some reason. I'm not sure
Yeah.
like
I
why.
think I think it was a part. I wondered why as well, but I feel like they're scared that she's going to fail. Maybe she's thinking that
Yeah,
or
maybe.
something like that. I feel like there is a bit more pressure for her to be something better or at least just as great as they are, at least because they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
I do like that the mom liked her best friend's book and that her mom actually edits her best friend's book for free because she loves her daughter so much. She's like, yeah, I'll do this. I'll read this
Yeah.
fan's book. That's my best friend's daughter, who is the token black friend in this film. In this one.
Right.
And I forgot to mention in the last film, there's two token black best friends. They both have them.
Yeah, that's
Katie's
true.
character and the guy character. It's
Oh,
just like,
you're
wow,
right. Yeah, he does. I forgot.
the token black best friends. This one
So
only has one.
so Amelia tells the guy that the partner or whatever that she wants to start a new division for artists.
Mhm. Yes, she wants to be a lawyer for arts for
And
the
I'm not
arts.
sure if she's still working for the same firm. I'm not sure why she couldn't still also be a partner.
I think it's a different firm. I think because this is corporate in
different
that you
firm.
have to go to a different law firm for that because you have to do a different thing. My dad, he works at a firm that is about eminent domain
No,
and land and buying up
it's
properties, that sort of
specific.
thing. Because yeah, you can't just be like, oh, can I hire you to do my attorney thing? No, our firm doesn't do that. We don't have lawyers for that because you have to. Because
Yeah.
lawyers, even though they have to finish up a bar, they have to have a concentration in law school for what they're doing. That's why my sister can only do international law. That's why she does immigration law because she's an immigration attorney and she helps people get their green card. She can't just go and help somebody with a murder charge. That's just she has not been trained for that.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. So then Humberto's mother apologizes and
Mhm.
said, I should have told you we were coming. I shouldn't have just,
Yeah.
surprised. They talk about
Should have told her.
boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with her on
I can
that. Should have told her.
understand like wanting a surprise, but if you know that this is like a particular sticky point, if you know that
Yeah.
this might not be fun for her, then yeah,
Mhm.
probably a good idea. And
Yeah. At least they weren't just like, hey, I'm here. Where's my room? They're like,
yeah,
no, we got an Airbnb right nearby.
yeah.
So I'm like, that was
So
at least nice of them.
now Amelia is putting double peppermint in her coffee, and her dad's
She's
like,
not longer just getting it
"Oh,
completely black. She's softening up.
your new favorite."
It's yes.
And so
It's the signifier that signifies her
yeah.
softening up.
So then all four parents are all
Mhm.
scheming now to get these two together
Yes.
in Brooklyn Park, and there's the giant bear and the photos and
And
everything.
the friends too want them to get together as well. It's not
Yeah,
just the
yeah.
parents. So that's why
Right.
it's friends and family Christmas.
Oh yeah, you're right, you're right.
Yeah.
And he says, I want to come home to you. And she
Mhm.
finds out that she, on the first day that she was in New York City, she'd actually, because she's going through and developing all these rolls of film, she finds a
Mhm.
picture of Amelia there. She's
Yes.
like, I took a picture of you the first day I was in New York City. So that was cute.
Mhm.
That was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cute.
Yeah. And we get our kiss at the end of the movie. So that was
We
fun.
did, and that
Yeah.
surprised me. I did not expect this kiss. I was just like, it's a Hallmark, it's TVG. We're gonna get like Iris in right as they kiss, or like right
Oh
before they kiss,
yeah.
stuff like that, or it's gonna be behind a bush. I was expecting that. And I was like,
Right.
whoa, it actually happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, good for you, Hallmark. Good for you.
Yeah.
And I think this is the one for my YouTube TV. It showed up at 8 p.m. Like this was prime time.
Right. Oh yeah,
I
it was.
was, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was surprised. I thought this was going to be the 10 o'clock movie. I thought, like, if there's going to be a gay kiss, it's going to be in the 10 o'clock. No, it's 8. Okay, okay.
So I'd
Good for
probably give
you.
this one, I'd probably give it like a 3.5 or 3.25, something like that, out of 5. It was pleasant enough. I enjoyed parts of it, but I just didn't think the chemistry was there. And
Mhm.
so that kind of hurt it quite a bit for me, but it wasn't,
If I
it was
compare
okay.
this, yeah, yeah. If I compare this with other Hallmark movies, this would probably be like a 3.2 as well. But
Yeah.
if we go by comparing it to movies I saw this year, then it's going to be like a 2.5.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same thing. Yeah, it's okay. It's not bad. It's
Yeah.
okay. It is something that is
It's a
cutesy to
start.
watch.
It's a
Yeah,
start.
it is a start.
And
Mhm.
going forward, I was hoping I would love it as much as The Holiday Sitter last year with Jonathan Bennett
Yeah.
was so good. Also written by Tracy Andreen.
Yeah.
It was funny, it was
Mhm.
heartfelt, it was well written, it was
Mhm.
great. And so I was hoping I would enjoy it as much as that, but
Mhm.
it just it didn't quite do it for me. But if
No.
anything,
Mhm.
like, we should be glad that there are enough now that we have like a nice little group
Yeah.
of sweet rom-coms for LGBTQ. I mean, just this
Exactly. And
year
that
we
whole
had Red, White, and Royal Blue, which was amazing.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, it's no
Yeah.
longer
Keep mhm.
that there's so many that we can.
Mhm.
Yeah, we it's very exciting.
And I think they're really tapping into the fact that it's not just LGBT people who want this,
Yeah.
because if it was, they wouldn't be making it. It's also
Yeah.
straight people want these romances too. A bunch of straight
Red, White,
women
and Royal
watched
Blue.
Red, White, Blue. A
Yeah.
bunch of people read the author's latest book, One Last Stop, that had that's a lesbian romance. And a bunch, especially straight women, they want these romances. They want this variety.
It's
variety.
true.
And
I mean,
I'm glad, and there's more acceptance going with that.
Yeah, because there was this, there's this other channel that was all saying, "Oh, we'll be the, the old, we're like the old Hallmark, and we're going to take all of your traditional viewers." Well, that did not pan out at all.
No, it did not.
If anything, Hallmark's ratings have been better than ever. I mean, this year the ratings have been. I mean, within the content, when I say better than ever, I mean within the context of what cable can achieve now. They're obviously not as good as like 2015, when but for cable, the ratings have been extremely strong this year, and nobody else is even close. I mean, everybody else is just kind of like the number of movies is way less. I mean, Netflix only had 2. Lifetime had 12. They've had as many as 30 in the past. So they have not suffered because of exclusivity at Hallmark.
No, in fact, it has kept those ratings steady and gave them great ratings, because not only do you have the straight viewers who are already wanted to watch it anyway and who do not care. And you have the LGBT viewers LGBTQIA plus viewers who actually want to see that. And it was funny. I saw this TikTok just like the Hallmark lesbian movie, and I was thinking of that when I was watching this movie. I was like, it needs more plaid. When I was watching it, I was like, it needs more plaid. But the Daniela wearing the beanie, I was like, yeah, the beanie is spot on though. That's kind of our calling card.
And it's interesting because when I grew up very traditional, and I, not that accepting till I was older. But when I was in high school, one of my favorite movies was Clueless, and it had a gay character. And I didn't even at that point, when I was, who I was at that point, I didn't give it a second thought, because it made sense for his character in the story. And, and I loved Christian, and he was a great character. And so that's what I was.
And he loved Billie Holiday. What was not to love? Right. I always think it. I'm just like, you love Billie Holiday. I love him.
That's why I like. Even at my most closed-mindedness, I still wasn't as closed-minded as people sometimes act like. I'm like, no, I think that people are more interested in hearing stories than we give them credit for.
It really is.
If that makes sense.
And I think it is because they're looking at Hallmark with their viewers. What are they reading? Because a bunch of Hallmark viewers, they're also they're part-time working moms, and they're people who have time to, or they work at home, and they have a lot of time to read too, and a lot of them buy queer romances. So
it's true.
That's also another thing.
Romance in general is basically saving publishing right now. I mean, it
really is
by far the most successful genre of publishing. It is by far. So it's very, very interesting. I'm happy this movie was made. I enjoyed watching it, even if it wasn't perfect, and I really enjoyed Sealed with a List. It was it was really good. So it was another fun weekend, and we did it. We got through the last weekend of Hallmark Christmas movies. Only one movie left. One movie left on Thursday.
Yay!
So, well, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. It was a delight to have you on. And if people want to follow you on social media and stuff like that, how do they do that?
So I'm on Twitter at raspberryraz.com, and also on Instagram at just Molly Rasberry. And you can also find my writings at Mollywood Writes at WordPress.com. And you can also find some of my writing on the film stage as well, that I publish some stuff. And yes, come and follow me. Come and check me out.
Yeah, definitely. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews 5 stars. It really helps us a lot. And if you're watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Most of our viewers are not subscribers, so please subscribe if you're in that camp. It helps the algorithm a lot. And then we also have our Patreon, which has a lot of fun benefits. So please take a look at that. And we have our merch store where you can get tons of fun holiday, Hallmarky, postable, hearty, everything inspired designs. And so take a look at that. And thanks again. And wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Bye, everyone.